Members, our country was founded on the premise of freedom of religion. Many fled Europe due to the religious persecution and oppression they felt from their government when their faith differed from the faith espoused by the state. As a result, our country's founders clearly identified the best way to protect religious liberty was to keep the government out of religion, to guarantee the separation of church and state. So with thoughtful deliberation and a vision of creating a more free and just society, they created the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, which prohibits government from enacting any laws respecting an establishment of religion, meaning the government cannot encourage or promote religion in any way, which guarantees that everyone in the United States has the right to practice his or her own religion or no religion at all. That is coupled with the Free Exercise Clause of the First Amendment, which gives you the right to worship or not as you choose, and the government cannot penalize you because of your religious beliefs. But these two clauses are balanced with the 14th Amendment, which states that no state shall make and enforce any law which shall abridge or the privileges of the immunities of the citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Religious freedom means the right to our beliefs. That right is fundamental and must be vigorously defended. However, religious freedom does not give us the right to impose our views on others. No matter how sincere our beliefs, we cannot refuse service in a restaurant to someone who is a different race because one might believe God intended the races to be separate. We cannot deny our child life-saving care because our faith opposes medical intervention. And we cannot refuse to treat women in a hospital because our faith tells us not to touch women who are not our relatives. We can hold all those beliefs deeply, but we cannot act on them to the detriment of others while in the public sphere. Institutions that open their doors to the public to provide services, whether for lodging, catering, or health care, should not be able to claim a religious exemption to rules furthering equality or public health. Any contrary rule would prohibit the institution to impose its faith on others with resulting harm to health, equality, and dignity. The public sector differs from churches, synagogues, mosques, and other houses of worship. In those institutions, the rules of faith are typically being imposed only on those who have chosen to accept them versus imposed upon others. Senate Bill 1978 contradicts the very principles on which this country was founded by prohibiting any government entity from taking adverse actions against an individual or business for their membership in, affiliation with, or contribution or donation or other support to a religious organization.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Schaefer, for what purpose?
Will the gentlelady yield for some questions?
No, I will not.
Lady, not at this time.
What does that mean exactly, adverse action? Does it mean a state employee cannot be terminated for employment for refusing to perform their job duties under the name of religion? Can a school district fire a cafeteria worker because she refuses to serve a Jewish child? Can a school bus driver be disciplined for refusing to stop and pick up a child with gay parents? Can a justice of the peace be allowed to refuse to perform an interracial marriage? Can a district clerk refuse to issue a marriage license to a gay couple? While I am sure the intent of this bill is to protect individual freedom, in reality, it would provide a segue for individuals looking to circumvent the rules of law in the name of religion. Private businesses could legally refuse service to families like mine based on the owner's religious belief. I have no doubt that if passed, Senate Bill 1978 will be fought in the courts at every level and at great expense to the taxpayers. To vote yes today is to put your signature on that invoice. The language of this bill has changed from its original form, but the underlying message remains the same. And that message poisons this state. It sends a message that Texas is not open and welcoming to all. It places Texas on the wrong side of history. It sends a message that this legislature does not listen to the will of the people who strongly expect us to treat all Texans with equality and dignity. This past election certainly reinforces that Texans do not want us to focus on discrimination. Proponents say this bill just affirms the First Amendment, and that's about it. Since nothing new is accomplished by this bill, we must ask ourselves, what is its true purpose? And the answer to that question explains why we must reject it. Its purpose is to further the agenda of a man whose only mission is promoting prejudice and discrimination and retaliation for his wife leaving him for another woman. You are allowing yourselves in this legislature of this great state to be pawns in his game of hate at the expense of millions of the citizens of Texas. This bill is designed to promote prejudice towards me and my family, towards Celia Israel, towards Mary Gonzalez, towards Aaron Zwiener, towards Jessica Gonzalez, towards people of different faith and traditions, and more importantly, to all of those Texans who do not have a voice, who are not members of this great body, but who are struggling every day in the face of discrimination just to lead the same lives to which we all aspire. Texas is a great state, and we have our differences, but each person is allowed to live in freedom and with the dignity and respect that we all deserve. One where a climate of discrimination is not poisoning our common well. One where religious liberty means each of us has the constitutionally guaranteed freedom to worship and believe as we see fit, free from government interference, not where religion is twisted to give justification towards offensive discrimination. A Texas that is prosperous and future-thinking and open, to which business flows because we treat all people equally. I ask you to stand with us and vote against this bill.